I want to talk a little bit about something we find in the Parsha this week's, the Parsha that we just read, and related to an important issue of Chinuch, of education, of how do we educate our children, and how do we hold the space for our children to be. So in the beginning of the Torah, the beginning of the portion of the Parsha speaks about that Yosef, a tzaddik, the young son, the ben Skunim, the youngest son, the second to the youngest son of Yaakov, has dreams, and it's magnificent dreams of becoming a powerful ruler, of becoming a king or a viceroy. And he tells over his dreams to his brothers, his older brothers. And simply, the way the Torah describes it is that his brothers are really upset, and they're jealous of him. And the story continues to unfold in a very dramatic way, where eventually, through his brothers, or directly from his brothers, he's sold into slavery and going into Egypt. But the Torah, the way it describes it, is he has these dreams, and he repeats his dreams to his brothers. Vayikana ba'achav, the Torah says that his brothers were jealous of him, and they were upset at him. And then it says, Va'aviv shamar asadavar, his father held that idea. What is shamar asadavar? Protected that idea. So Rashi brings down that what this means is, he protected it. He was waiting and longing for the time that his dream would be fulfilled. So Yosef has a dream. The youngest son has a dream of glory, of greatness. No one believes his dream. In fact, not only don't they believe his dream, but they become jealous because of his dream. But his father holds the dream. His father holds the space for the dream of Yosef, which means Yosef trusts that his father is holding that dream for him. His father is protecting. Shamar is also protection. His father protects the dream for him. He's a young boy and he has these dreams, and his father is holding these dreams. Not only is holding his dreams, but he's waiting as Mamtin Mitzapa, like we say with Shabbos at Mamtin Mitzapa, that he's waiting for this dream to unfold. So the father is dreaming of the child and the potential, the actualization of this child who is destined to become great. And maybe it's not seen to be great and not recognized to be great by his other siblings. But the father sees something in this child, and father sees in every single child, and his father holds the dream for Yosef. Then the story is that he's sold into slavery, and they take his garments, his special garments, and they show it to his father. They show that it's bloodied to symbolize the idea that maybe he was killed. And it says, Vayikar Yaakov rends his garments, he rips his garments, and he wails, and he mourns for his son. And the verse says, Vayikumu kol banav v'chol benosav l'nachmai, and his entire family, all his sons and all his daughters, which, even though the Torah doesn't speak about his daughters yet, it speaks about one daughter. So either these are daughter-in-laws. Rashi brings down two opinions: either his daughter-in-laws, or there was a twin that was born with each son. But it means that his entire family comes l'nachmai. His entire family comes to offer him condolences, which in a way they're saying is, they're telling their father that, we know that you had this son that you loved, and you love all your children, and the son that you had a special love towards, and he's no longer here. And apparently he's killed. Vayeishev leaves Nachem. And his father refused to be comforted. Rashi says, the name of the Medrash, what does it mean that he refused, that he was not comforted? Ein adam niskabel tachnum. Tanchum alachai v'sava shemesh, al mestik nixusei shishchem alev, lo alachai. That there's an idea that when a person passes on, you automatically, the person that's the survivor of the person that passes on, forgets or lets go of that person that died. But over here, since Yosef was still alive, Yaakov refused, even though Yaakov didn't know this, but on a deep subconscious level, he knew this. Vayemoin l'snachem, he wasn't comforted. But it also means on a deep level, what this means is that his family is coming to him and telling him that to give up on this son, whether it's literally or figuratively, to say maybe the son is lost, and to give up on this son, to give up on this child. And sort of saying that, look, we have such a beautiful family, you built such a beautiful family, and you have so many beautiful children and daughters and sons. But Vayemoin, Yaakov refuses to be comforted. This Vayemoin, this word Vayemoin, this refusal to be comforted, appears again in the Torah, again in this week's parsha. So it appears in the story of Yaakov. So Yaakov's holding the dream of his son. And he's holding the dream of his son destined for this child to become great. And he's holding that dream. He's protecting that dream of his child that he knows one day will become a great ruler. And he refuses to believe. He refuses to let go of this dream. Later on, the Torah says that Yosef eventually enters into Mitzrayim. And the story of Potiphar, the wife of Potiphar, that the story is that Yosef is a very beautiful person. The Torah says that he's a fas mara, he's very beautiful in his appearance and his posture, much like his mother is described the same way, like Rachel is described the same way. And she tells him, the wife of his master tells him, Shifchei, be with me, be intimate with me. But Vayemoin, says the Torah, Vayemoin, the same word that the Torah uses when it speaks about Yaakov refusing to let go of his son, refusing to let go and give up on his son that he left to dead, whether again literally or figuratively. Torah says that Vayemoin, he refuses, and he says, and he gives a whole explanation, says, how could I do this to my master? My master trusted me, and I'm going to sin to Hashem. How could I do this thing with you? How could I be intimate with you? This is a terrible thing. The word Vayemoin is a shalshelas, which means it's a movement that it goes back and forth, the way it's sung. Now, there's some interpretations, I would say some more even modern interpretations, that Vayemoin represents some type of trepidation or some type of ambivalence on the part of Yosef. But the Chassidish rabbis, the Chassidic masters teach very clearly that Vayemoin then is a psik, Vayemoin, and then is a pause, and then Vayomer. Vayemoin means an absolute. We're talking about Yosef Tzaddik. We're not talking about, God forbid, just a regular person. Vayemoin doesn't mean that he's ambivalent, that he thinks maybe he should do this, God forbid. But Vayemoin, psik. Vayemoin means it's absolutely to him, he is not going to do this. And then Vayomer Leishis, then he also says, which Sasabas explains, and Sheba Shmuel and other Tzaddikim explain, that Vayemoin means he said absolutely no. And then he gave him an explanation. And he gave a rationalization why he wouldn't do this act, this terrible act, this adulterous act with the wife of Potiphar, which means that he first says absolutely no, and then he gives an explanation, and it's explained, because if he uses explanation, rational, so with rational you can justify anything. You can rationalize the worst possible things in the world. So what he says is, I have a certain ethical value, I have a certain perception, a certain way I think about the world, and the way I think about myself, and my relationship to Hashem, my relationship to man. Absolutely, I'm not going to do this. And then he explains rationally why he won't do it. But the first thing, the premise is that he's absolutely certain that he's not going to do this. And the pasuk continues that she tries to force him, and he runs out. And Chazal say that when it says that he came to do his malacha, came to do his work, which is an argument between Rav and Shmuel, what this means, whether it means literally to be with her or to do his work, that the image of his father appeared to him in the mirror, in the window. In the Yerushalmi, there's the same version. This is Gemara and Sotah Talmud Vav. The Yerushalmi has a similar version. It also says his mother as well, his father and his mother. Now, we normally understand this, that the image appeared to him of his father sort of from the outside in, which means that he was tempted, he was in a place of tremendous temptation, and she was pulling him to do this sinful act with him, and then sort of miraculously the image of his father came to him from the outside and appeared to him, and that held him back. There's a sefer called the Kav HaYashar, which is a classic work of Musar, which the Kav HaYashar speaks about avodah, certain type of spiritual acts or ethical acts that a person can do in order to enhance and to evolve their life. And the Kav HaYashar speaks about this idea that when a person feels themselves tempted into znus, into some type of negative act that's connected to being promiscuous and things like that, what a person should do, one of the things that the Kav HaYashar suggests, is they should project the image of their parents or their father in their own mind. Not that, and it brings this idea that Yosef saw which means not that it's projected from the outside, but this is an act that Yosef himself does, so to speak, which means that he projects the image of his father. Where does he project this image in his father or his parents? B'chaloim. B'chaloim is literally the mirror, but it's very close to the word chalom, which is like a reflection of a dream. So it's projected in his imagination. And here's the fascinating correlation between these two stories. Yosef has a dream. Yosef has a dream, and his dream is a grandiose dream. He has tremendous dreams and dreams of becoming great, which hopefully every child has these dreams of becoming something. And he's not just a child, he's already an adolescent, and he's having these dreams of greatness. His father is Shomer Sadavar. His father protects his dream. His father holds the dream for Yosef. And because his father holds the dream for Yosef, his father believes in the dream of his child, dreams the dream of his child. He's holding the dream of his child. And therefore, he completely refuses to believe that this dream won't unfold. And even when the situation seems so dire that it seems like his son is no longer alive, he knows deeply that it's impossible, that this dream is going to be fulfilled. And Yosef is going to achieve his greatness. And this is not only on a literal level, but it's certainly true also on a metaphorical level, that it seems like the dream of Yosef is not going to unfold. Something terrible happened to him. And maybe he was sold into slavery, or maybe something terrible happened to him otherwise. And his dream is not going to unfold. Yaakov still holds the dream. He holds the dream of his child. Vayimoin. And he refuses to give up. This absolute steadfast Vayimoin, the steadfast psik, full stop, refusing, is the same refusing that Yosef does. That Yosef has that strength to withhold himself and to overcome the challenge. And even though he's in a very tenuous state, in a very complicated situation, he's able to stay strong because his father held his dream in his imagination and protected his dream. Yosef was able to conjure up, or Yosef almost subconsciously conjures up, the image of his father in his own dream. If a parent, and this is how it's relevant in terms of chinuch, in terms of education, if a parent dreams the dreams of his children, mother or a father, a son or a daughter, dreams the dreams of a child, holds the space to hold the dreams of their children, eventually years later, and the child finds himself, no matter where the child is going to find himself in a situation where maybe the parent never imagined that the child should be in that situation, and maybe the child never even thought he's going to be or she's going to be in that situation, but they find themselves in a very precarious situation. If the parent are the ones that are holding the dreams of the child will have their parents in their own imagination, in their own dreams. And when they close their eyes, this is what happens. When Yosef looks into his imagination, into his chalom, his dream, into the reflection of the mirror, of the glass, what he sees is his father's image. Because the father has the image of his son within his own imagination, or the mother has the image of the child in her own imagination. Because she thinks and dreams the dreams of the child will eventually dream the dreams of the parent, and they'll be unified and connected. And this is the importance of understanding that the way we raise our children, especially, God forbid, if a person has difficulties with raising their children, and Tzar Gadol Banim, in the way that the children don't seem to be fulfilling exactly what you expected, certain expectations, and we should never have certain expectations of our children, but let's say you do. It's not exactly the expectations that you have of what your children should look like. You put in all the effort and all the sweat and tears and blood into this process of raising the child, and you give the best possible childhood for this child. The Torah is telling us that we need to do more than that, not just to give them physically what they need, but we need to give them their space, and we need to hold their dreams in our imagination, to hold that space, and not to ever let go of that. V'yimoy, never to let go that we don't believe our children are going to become great, both physically and spiritually, and mentally, emotionally, that our children are going to become who they're supposed to be in this world, and they are going to unfold in the most wonderful and holy way. To hold that dream, to hold the dream that the child has when they're young, and to hold that space for that child. And when we hold that dream for the children, and we believe in them, and we hold their dreams, and we fully believe them, even if everyone laughs at them and mocks them and says it's impossible, we believe in our children. We believe in them absolutely. We believe in our children, that eventually the child, when they close their eyes and they're in any type of state, they're going to conjure up the image of their parents. It's going to be automatic. They're going to dream the dreams of their parents, and ultimately they're both going to have the same dreams, and they're going to unify together. And that's eventually what happens when Yaakov finally gets together, and with the story of Yosef, and the conclusion of the story, when they finally reached its conclusion, and it's mitasa shleima, that the entire home and the entire bed of Yaakov is all complete, and they're all beautiful children and holy tzaddikim of Shiftika. Have a wonderful week.